Do this to just give the supercharger a little bit of a break. Hey guys, I'm Nate. Welcome back to the channel. So today I thought we'd talk about some of the things that you can do to extend the life of your Hellcat or your car really. These things are pretty interchangeable. So I got a little bit of a sniffle today that might come through. I drove the wife's Prius earlier and I think maybe I had an allergic reaction to that. So the first thing is, what I do is when I start the car, just let it warm up for a couple minutes. So let's go ahead and start this thing up. So yeah, basically on the warm-up, I kind of like to give the car just a few minutes, like 2-3 minutes, not really that much time. I'm not going to wait till the oil temp hits like 170, for example. Just kind of let the car warm up a little bit, get the fluid circulating before I'm going to go ahead and take this car out. Part of that is for the engine oil, part of it is also for the transmission fluid, the diff fluid, just kind of get all of those things a little bit more warmed up than you will on a completely cold car. So one of the things I look for to kind of know where the car is warmed up before I'll go is, so this car, if it's on a completely cold start, the exhaust baffles will stay open and you'll notice that the car is louder on a cold start. But after a little while, those exhaust baffles will close up and the car will get noticeably quieter. So if you can, I like to try and wait until the car gets quieter, because then I know, all right, well, the car has at least completed this cold start routine. So I don't know if you can notice it, but it's starting to get a little bit quieter now. So let's go. All right, so another thing I was pretty diligent on is following the break-in procedure. There's a lot of controversy and debate about whether you should break in a car like the manufacturer state, whether you should just go flat out, all of that stuff. I follow the break-in procedure that the manual said for the first 1,000 miles. I haven't really noticed anything weird. I did notice initially in the car, and this kind of gets me my second point, is the oil consumption was kind of high. Like I would notice, I think in one of my videos, I was like 1 3/4 quarts low one time. So make sure you check your oil on a regular basis. Actually, make sure you check all of your fluids on a regular basis, but especially so after you kind of get that new car and it's still breaking in. Make sure you're checking your oil regularly to make sure that it needs to be topped off. And the same should apply to all of your fluids really, but pay close attention to oil in general. I check oil on this car maybe every 1 or 2 fill-ups at the gas station, just become part of my routine. I don't really have to think about it. I have noticed sometimes that it's been a little bit lower than it should be. Okay, so another thing specifically I've done on this car is I installed a catch can. So I'll get into that more detail in another video, just in terms of, okay, what was the installation like and everything. One thing I do notice on the catch cans is it does seem to collect oil. There's oil in there when I open it up, a significant amount of oil. And so I would rather keep that out of the intake, which is why I installed it. I had an STI before, and before I installed the air oil separator, you have to take the intercooler and everything out, and I did notice the intercooler was a little bit dirty with oil residue. So I'm kind of glad that I installed a catch can on this car to just prevent that from happening. And again, there's a lot of debate on whether catch cans are useful. Why would the manufacturer not install it? I'm not sure. My personal theory is that it's a maintenance item, and if you don't empty that catch can regularly, it may cause more problems by oil spilling over. So maybe that's why they didn't do it, but I've found good use out of it, not just on this Challenger, but previous Challengers. And there's always oil in the can. So on the warm-up, just to go back to that real quick, the other thing I will do is I'd keep an eye on my oil temps. That's typically the only gauge I have up all the time, is oil temp. And what I'm looking for there is, before I really get on the car, like before I go full throttle, do some watt runs, I'm looking for the oil temp to get to about 170, 180. And when it reaches there, then I know, all right, things are pretty warmed up, we're ready to go. But until then, I try to take it kind of easy on the car. The opposite side of that is the cool down. So this is a supercharged car. I actually learned about this when I had my Audi, which was also supercharged. Is you should let the car cool down, because the supercharger especially is going to be extremely hot after driving it around. And so what I'll try to do is I try not to get on the car too much just before I'm going to park it, so just before I'm getting to where I'm going. And I do this to just give the supercharger a little bit of a break. I do the same thing with the turbo. When I'm back home or when I'm parking, I'll also just kind of keep an eye on the gauge. Sometimes if the temperature gauge, the regular temperature, engine temperature gauge, is a little bit on the higher side, just wait until the fans kick in and let that cool it down a little bit. So basically I'm trying not to turn the car off cold turkey if it's been like subjected to maybe more extreme operating conditions, right? The other things are maybe just more cosmetic, just keeping the car in good shape. So number one thing is when I'm drying the car, I try to, you know, dry whatever I can, get the water out of all the crevices. Like I'll open all the doors, the hood, the trunk. Specifically on the trunk, water kind of tends to get trapped in the trunk. There's a guy on my Instagram page that he replied to one of my videos. Basically, he said there are these little drain plugs. You can remove them out, and the water comes out from the trunk much more easily than just waiting for it to drip, 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 come out. So for your leather, just maybe if you can condition your leather, it'll make it last longer. It won't crack as easily. If my car wasn't garage kept, I would probably get it tinted and then have one of those like windshield shades. So just to keep the interior from just baking, because over time, that no matter how much you condition, crack your dashboard, is going to crack your leather. So that's another thing you can do to kind of keep your car in good shape, extend the life of it. All right, guys, that's really it. Those are kind of my tips. I hope this was helpful for you guys. If you guys have any other tips, you know, please put them down in the comments. I'd like to hear from you guys. What do you guys do? Maybe some routines that may help extend the life of a car. And otherwise, check out these next videos, and I'll see you there. Thanks. Bye.